Good evening, everyone. My name is Mazel. What a voice! What a voice! That was the voice of the gospel singer Osinachi. Osinachi, if you recall, April 2022, died with some kind of obscure circumstances where the husband was accused of some domestic violence, and afterwards her mom, her sister, her friends. Thank you very much, Solagaki1, for subscribing to us. So, once that happened in 2022, she was eventually buried, her husband arrested, and has been in the court. Today, as all of you know, or many of you may know, that the husband that was accused of behind her death, in line with what the people who knew her, the confessional statements that they made, saying that the husband was behind her death. You know, it's at that point it sounded so silly, to say the least, that a man would be behind the death of the wife in that manner. But hey, fast forward now, the court today gave a verdict, and that verdict is that the individual in question, accused of the murder of Osinachi, is going to die by hanging. Now, if we backtrack a little bit, then we'll listen to this from
To
Tennessee.
security now, after about 2 weeks of the alleged murder of gospel singer Mrs. Osinachi Nwachukwu, Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba has assured Nigerians that justice will be served over her death. The police boss said this as he received the Minister of Women Affairs, Mrs. Pauline Talon, who led family members of the gospel singer on a visit to his office in Abuja.
Is going to investigate this issue with all alacrity and sincerity of purpose. Meanwhile, in all cases of this nature, there is an expert opinion which is required. And it is because of this that the police have approached the National Hospital where the corpse is deposited to conduct a postmortem examination to get an expert opinion as to the cause of death. As soon as this opinion is received at our end, we will finish our investigation and charge the suspect to court for possible prosecution.
Now, in charging the suspect to court for possible prosecution, earlier today, as I said, the news broke out that the court has sentenced the gospel singer's husband to death by hanging. And the statement, or rather the news read that Justice Nwosu Iheme found the husband guilty of culpable homicide resulting in death of the deceased on April 8, 2022. And what were those? Now, the verdict further read that Justice Njenje Nwosu Iheme of the High Court of the Federal Territory, Wuse Zone 2 in Abuja, the FCT, has sentenced the husband of the late gospel singer Osinachi Peter Nwachukwu to death by hanging. Justice Nwosu found him of guilty culpable homicide resulting in death of the deceased on the April 8, 2022. The judge sentenced Nwachukwu to death while sentencing him after the court had held that the prosecution had proven the burden of proof placed on it by the law and subsequently found the defendant guilty. Now, reflecting on this, juxtaposing it to what the former IG of police said, that they were going to work respectfully based on the autopsy. Nwachukwu was arraigned, that is the husband of Osinachi, was arraigned on the 8th of June 2022 by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria on the 23-count charge bordering on culpable homicide, punishable by death, criminal intimidation, cruelty to children, criminal cruel intimidation and criminal intimidation of the children, spousal battery, among others. In the course of the trial, the prosecution called 17 witnesses, including 2 children of the late Osinachi, who testified as 4th prosecution and 5th prosecution witnesses, P4 and P5, PW4 and PW5, respectively, while it tendered 25 documents as exhibit before the court. All this brought, when the court looked at it, the defendant testified for the defense and further called for 4 other witnesses and tendered 4 exhibits in his defense. Shortly before sentencing the defendant, counsel for Nwachukwu, in the name of Reginald Nwale, pleaded with the court to be lenient in the judgment, while the prosecution counsel, Mrs. Adoranke Imala, urged the court to give force to law as stipulated. Now, what will make your own defense counsel to say, please tender mercy, or rather tender justice with mercy? Meaning that even your own defense lawyer knows that something is definitely wrong, that his own client is definitely guilty here. Justice Nwosu Iheme subsequently sentenced Nwachukwu to death by hanging on count of 1, while he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment each on count of 2, 3, 8, 9, 12, 13, and 18. The court sentenced the defendant to 6 years month imprisonment on the count of 10, 3 years imprisonment on the count of 11, while he was fined the sum of 500,000, 200,000 respectively for the count of 6 and 7. Now, the late gospel artist, who was several tracks, including Ekweme, and many more tracks, really will be missed. Again, I think what we may have to do, we may have to then go back to one of the songs that was played by her before we refresh your memory again as to how actually, how do I put that? As to the work that she did. Give it to her. She had an amazing husband. She has an amazing voice. But the husband really used her voice and the revenue accumulated by her golden voice to oppress her. Really battered her, took charge of her, sources of income, and did, unimaginable things that one can only say for the living. Please, no one, no woman, no man should live in an abusive relationship. I know that the society always frown at women leaving their husband's house. But hey, is it better to live in sack? I don't know. Is it better to live while you're dead, or to leave and let the society talk nonsense and say, oh, this gospel artist is no longer living with the husband? Because has she left her husband earlier than she did, I do not think that she will be dead. Now, just a couple of seconds of one of the times she worshipped in her church, that is the Dunamis, with Paul and Njenje in Abuja. Just enjoy. So now this is one of her exploits. This is one of the terms that she sang in her local church, the Dunamis in Abuja. She was a a lady with a golden voice, I would say. To refresh our memory, this is her sister and her mom in 2022, an interview exclusively granted to BBC Igbo. And in this interview, the family made it very clear that the husband maltreated her to the point that her YouTube login details was obtained against her will. All the music and the royalty, whatever that was accruing from the channel was diverted to a particular account. And even when she was dying, everything was taken away from her. Even when she goes to perform, that she does not get any money. I'll try as much as possible. Most of these are in Igbo, just to refresh our memory as to those who may no longer know who the lady in question is.
Ha! I want to say na Peter with a mob. We'll call ya mob. Not ya mob. Peter, you don't see that you're not here. What's not your beyond a idea?
So she's now narrating here that the husband, Peter Nwachukwu, was really abusive to their sister. And she narrates that there was a very particular incident where the husband battered her with mop for mopping floor, the one with a long stick. But their sister would come out and was hiding the fact that she was being attacked and was being abused. Again, it reflects to what I said earlier before. If you are in an abusive relationship, there is no shame in walking away peacefully. Walk rather than die in an abusive relationship. Be you a man, be you a woman. It doesn't matter, because people will think that it's only women that get abused in a relationship. No, far from it. Yes, the majority could be women, but there are also at times where men also get abused. In this case, sadly, in this abuse, she suffered in this abuse and she died in the same abuse. Now, some are saying that it took time for her to get justice. Sadly, in her death, leaving her children behind, she appeared to now have gotten justice at last.
So goes na chibe brown we gwam mom last nwa ya. Peter chụpụrụ ya n'ezi with nwa okwu n'aka. Ọnwa ya nwoke si na window chinye ya akwa. Ogbuchi oyi nọ na-atụ ya. Nwa ya nwoke si na window wee nye ya akwa ogbuchie nwa ya.
But why would a man be so heartless that, because these were the things the kids eventually testified in court that really convinced the judges to say, no, this is beyond human. From what the sister is saying, when she gave birth to her last son, and the husband, obviously they had a disagreement. The husband threw her out. She had no wrapper. She was basically with nothing, with a child so tender that one of the older child had to sneak out a wrapper to the mom in order for both to cover themselves, not to be I don't know, it might be within the December month or during the rainy season, for them not to really be cold at night. They didn't have the warmth of a home. Yet this is, quote unquote, a Christian gospel singer being abused in this manner. Probably, as many would say, that religion indeed brainwashed her brain to stay at all costs. Well, if you want to bring the biblical side of it to it, of course, even when the Bible says that the man and the woman should live together as husband and wife. There are also conditions for people to go their separate ways. But beyond biblical injunction, where is the state and where is the place of common sense here? If someone is to take your life, come on. In Igbo we say, so sisi nurunage we are forever. It's only a tree that will see the axe coming and stays one place. She has lost her life. Could her life journey be a lesson to all of you, all of us alive today, listening to the sound of my voice? If it becomes too obvious that your partner is going to take your life, my dear, whether you a man, whether you a woman, walk. It is better to walk away with your head intact, still in your shoulders, than to endure unnecessary abuse from someone. Because actually, when you love someone, there is no room for such abuse. Really, this is an abuse of the highest order. That was a mental, physical, and financial abuse.
Osinachi na-emepe ọnụ maka na ọ mana ọgwa m na m ga-agwa my mother and ọma ndị nwunye. Peter si na anyị nwere mmadụ ya ga-emechi Osinachi ihe na nwere onye ga-ekwu okwu. Peter na-eme ya na-echi ya ọ na-anagide ya n'ihi eluigwe n'ihi ebe ọ fụrụ ọ na-eje. Ọ na-anagide ya Osinachi pụta before Osinachi na-eje program o nwere ya dịka ohu.
Now, see, the last thing the sister said is one of the things where that one of the key areas that is very problematic within our society. She said, "On anagidia nihi enigwe," that means she was enduring all these as a result of heavenly rays. She was enduring everything the husband was doing to her as a result of, hoping against hope that she was going to get to heaven. To some, that would be a total idiocy because no one deserves to be abused in that manner. Any form of abuse is not accepted. I repeat, for the umpteenth of time, if you are into an abusive relationship that you think it has probably extended to for a period that the person rendering the abuse, it's very unlikely to change. Please work for your life, for your future. If she had left the man, she sings very well. She would have, find her footing on her own. She probably would still be here singing for people to enjoy her angelic voice. Again, if we want to go into the atheist theory and the Christian theology, many may begin now to question, where was God in all these things that she was being abused? Someone made an argument in a forum that I found a little bit amusing. But again, that is the way many of us within this part of the world, in the mother continent, think. Somebody asked rhetorically in one of the forums, if the God she was singing for should have struck the husband when she raised his hand to strike her with that mop or that stick. Well, another replied, God does not work in that manner. He doesn't go around trying to restrain people from hitting one another. That God has given you the brain. You are a human being. He created you in his own image, and he has given you the brain to take decisions. At times, you see, when you see a moving trailer coming and you go in front of it, only one thing can happen. No miracle on planet Earth can save you. It's going to be squashed. So when you are in an abusive relationship and you have chosen not to speak, because according to the sister, She chose not to speak up, and she hid it from her mom, the one you're looking at the screen here. Her mom is going to say her own version. The sister also said she hid it from the family. And even when she heard, the man was threatening them that the family is nothing, absolute nothing, that they are nobody. There is nobody in their family that is capable of challenging him. So he saw himself as the little Hitler of the Nwachukwu family, the bitter and the batterer of the wife. You know, there are times that you feel so angry. You think that some men, by the way they have abused their wives, ought to be done and only one thing only. Laid on the floor. Make sure there is no there is no trousers or boxers in the body. And maybe two men holding him and the hands and the other holding on the legs. Mix concussion of salt and pepper and find some koboko. Your imagination can fill in the gap. Because sometimes that appears to be the only way some people might tend to receive sense.
Before my hoyanya, honorable 8 years from what I am now for ya.
Can you imagine? So the abuse actually did not start later. It started the moment the man married the wife. According to the mother, right? The mom, I'm trying to do this for my non-Igbo audience to follow this story very well. At this moment, please, if you may wish, if you may, we beg you to please like, share, and subscribe to the platform if you haven't done so. Just like. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Like the YouTube algorithm, because I do not come online so often these days, but now that I am online, we can make the best use of it so that the algorithm would alert others that there is something happening on YouTube that you really like. If you like the conversation so far, please like, share, and subscribe. Now, coming back to the mom, what the mom is saying here is that when she got married to the man that was sentenced to death, for the first 8 years, yes, you had me right, for the first 8 years, she never heard from the daughter. Even when she was pregnant, the mother didn't know. Even when she gave birth to the first child, she had to know through a friend, not from the daughter, not from the husband. If you know and understand the culture of the Southeast people, that is the Igbo people of Nigeria, you will know that when a lady, a girl, gets married, and when that lady is pregnant, the husband must inform the mother and goes to his in-law if the father is still alive with some form of hot drink and other adjoining stuff to announce to them that they will be expecting a grandchild. And also for the mother-in-law, in anticipation for the postnatal, job, right? AKA the Omugwo. You have seen many films about the Omugwo, where the mother leaves the husband's house, goes to the daughter's house or the in-laws house that just got a new baby, there to help the daughter, and a lot of things, because obviously, especially with the first child, because the child, the girl that has given birth it's a Herculean task. It has, she helps with cooking because obviously the woman will be sore down there where the baby came out from, if it's natural birth, or if the tummy was open through CS, obviously that's still going to be painful. So the woman, the mother, will be helping with cooking, washing, taking care of baby. Obviously, when the babies are that tender, they tend to clinch to the body because they need that body warmth, right? And in this case, the woman, the mother, did not know. It shows you that for a very, very long time, the relationship broke down. Yet she clinged. She clinged. She did not let go. Why? Again, there is only one reason. I think that reason is because of religious belief. Then on this note, I would say we must, on these religious and cultural beliefs, emancipate ourselves. Are we going to hold there the religious angle to these things or the cultural thing? Oh, in our place, the moment a woman marries, a woman doesn't leave the husband's house, if you do, it is a taboo. Oh, yeah. Well, which is better? To say goodbye to the so-called marriage or to go home in body bags? Sadly, in this case, the latter was the case. For 8 years again, before I bring in the mother in, for 8 years, she didn't know about the daughter. She doesn't pick her call. She doesn't call her mom. Not that she didn't want to, but the husband forbade her to establish those contacts. Again, I would say she had some element of silliness. Sorry. I mean, an adult, if really you want to keep close tie with your families, of course, you can do certain things in secret. You must not necessarily call them, or your husband mustn't know. Because, if you come to think about it, women do a lot of things that their husband don't know and would never find out. So why not get in touch with your family?
na nwa m mpụrụ ọnwa ite naanị wee sị na m ga-abịa lelee n'ọmụgwọ sị na ya achọ nkwa ịhụ m ma abịara ilere ya ọmụgwọ ọbụla mgbe m kpọrọ ya wee jụọ ya sị ya ị ka gị na di gị si anọ sị mama na ọwụ ihe m ga-ajụ ya na ha enweghị nsogbu dị tele o wee tụta ime nke ọzọ mụọ ya mgbe o ji wee mụzie ya wụrụ ọnụ ya kpọwa m sị m bịa na agụ ga-egbu ya na onwe onye na-eletakwa ya ya na-ata ahụhụ na ihe Pita na-eme ya na ọ karịrị akarị wee lee anya n'elu lee anya na o wee kpọwa daadị anyị sị ya na Pita si ọwụ na ya alaghala ndụ ya alaala ọnwụ ada m nwaanyị wee kwee na ọ ga-aga ejikere gawa Abuja otu a si jide efe maka ka Osinachi mmadụ nwa m osisi mmadụ ayi si wee jide aka na-efe ya Osinachi abụghị onye nsogbu ọ na-eme ka nna m ime ya ọkwa m na-enye nsogbu mana ime ya dị nesiri ga-eji mana ihe ewute ọ ga-ebewa akwa o jide aka n'obi si apịta ị na-emewa m obi otu ọtada aka n'ọnụ eze ị na-emewa m obi Pita ọtada aka n'ọnụ eze ya n'ọnụ ị na-emewa m obi maka na ọ na-ekwe ka m nọkọta my sister nso ọ dị echekwa Osinachi gwa m okwu maka na ọ ma na ọ gwa m na ọ ga-enwerata ihe ọ ga-ekwu Pita adịghị ekwe ka ụmụ ya rute anyị nso maka na ụmụaka ga-ama ihe na-aka na the family ada o nwere ike imechigo ha ọnụ ahụ si ihe ekwukwere n'itụrụ ọbụla na-eme ebe a this man bụ devil
For the benefit of my viewers who are non-Igbos, again, I come back. The mom concluded that the daughter never got back to her until she had her second child. And at some point, she cried to the mom and said, "Mama, please, I need help. I am dying of hunger because my husband is starving me and my newborn baby." I think at that point, it became apparent to her that if she doesn't speak up, she's going to die in this marriage. Sadly, she still died in that marriage. According to her mom, she beckoned on the elder sister, the one you see on the screen here, to go and stay with her. This one here says that when she came in, the husband never allowed the kids to come close. That is, the nieces and nephews to come close to her. He was afraid that they would say something, they would tell some tales. And she said that that man is nothing but a devil. That's her words. He who lived and he who saw the action that happened in that household probably has the better word to describe what she saw. You cannot beat a child and tell that child not to cry, or rather, to tell that child how that child ought to cry. She narrated about an incident where the sister held the husband and saying, "Why are you doing this to me? Why do you want to kill me?" And she concluded by saying that the sister was a very peaceful person, like their dad. And she said something in passing that not many people would have paid attention. She said, "Odia Mekam," meaning she is probably the one on the rough side. If she is the one the man was married, maybe you would have used one, the mortar pestle to grate his head one day, and the man may find himself really sleeping in a coma. But hey, the peaceful one, Osinachi, the one who didn't want to tell the family what was going on, eventually lost her life. I wouldn't bore us with this so much, but I would also not do justice to this if I do not give us also a snippet, because now some people can say, "Oh, well, this is the family, this is the sister." I mean, what do you expect them to do? They're going to say that their sister is the best. But wait a minute. She had a friend who lived in Lagos, because they lived in Abuja, and she was a gospel singer who went everywhere singing. When the friend made some statement, remember, these things were in 2022, the moment she died. That's when some of these videos started coming out. And the friend had the following to say.
Because the very peaceful. The first time man asked something wasn't right. She was coming to Lagos. So her mom seemed not at Lagos, but she had a connecting flight. She was going somewhere else from Lagos. So same now a connecting flight. Same Namagan on airport. And I was working that day, but I would finish around the time she would arrive at the airport. So I say, "Fine, yes. So we'll see." I said, "Okay." So when Rocha was here, her flight was rescheduled. And she had a connecting flight that day. So that meant she couldn't continue to where she was going to. And then she was going to come into Lagos late. So I said, "Okay, so plan again." Osiasim, ni imano buha Lagos going 10 day iraho. So there are no hotel for her or anything. I said, oh, it's fine. Come and stay with me now. I said, okay. I said, have you eaten? No. She hadn't eaten then. So I called my sister. I said, please, Osi's coming. Can you make something? You know, I was supposed to wait for her and see her, but I couldn't because her flight was not scheduled. So more alazi. So my sister prepared something and everything. She came into Lagos around 10. We were in touch when she departed, when she boarded, when she landed. She called me. So I said, okay. So I go for a game. Osi. It was late, or it was cab from the airport. So I said, not sure wahala, go over Didia first. I said, okay, it's late now, and we've already prepared for you. Yeah, I'm sure he won't have any issues. So I said, she'll get back to me. Osinachi called me back and said that her husband said no. So I was like, what do you mean? It's late. You don't even live in Lagos. So what's the plan? What's he saying? I said, no, say, no, gagacho hotel. He said, in a hotel na bania. Why can't you na hotel? Can I call him? He said, nyem phone, nyem number, come boy. So what the guy? Because I asked to see, say, iko kwa yonyembo. Na ya mago saints, I know glorious singers, imago. Iko kwa yo say, no simba. So what the guy? He said, I introduced myself. I've known her for a very long time. And I've known Lucy for a long time, you know, almost 30 years or more. So, and I introduced myself. I told the guy who I was, told him that I was 15 minutes away from the airport. So I can come and pick her. It's not an issue at all. And we've already prepared food for her that she hasn't even eaten. So that we're ready for her. So please, can you allow her? If you want me to go and pick her, I'll pick her. I said, please, can you allow her to come and stay with us? The man said no. So I was trying to persuade him, like, you know, it's very late and it's not good for her to be out at this time looking for a hotel. She doesn't know anywhere now. If the hotel was booked ahead, it's fine. She'll just go find her way there. But she will have to start searching for. So he said, no, that's fine now. She's not going to stay with anybody. Like, he doesn't like her staying with anybody. I was still trying to persuade him. I'm not anybody. Like, we're not strangers. We've known, and she's not an inconvenience at all. If you think she's going to inconvenience us, no, she's not an. He said, no, that's fine now. That's how we ended the call. And I called Osi back. I said, Osi, can home? He said, if you go near. I said, no, kwa. I said, if you go near. He said, okay, here's the plan, kita. I said, no, say ya, no get to hotel. Okay. He said, I'm just be a brugi. I said, no, no, no get to hotel. The shocking thing was that Osi had to stay at that airport and wait for him to send money for her to go and get the hotel room. I said, Osi, what do you mean? Are you not going to a program? Didn't they pay you? Book hotel with the money now. Start going. It's getting late. Book hotel with the money. Then you can sell whatever. She said, said, "Dad, do you want them? A good program. No, they are not collecting. So no, they are not ego. I said, Osinachi, can you not I said, no, dear, so no get send the ego, no get check or send the ego. Hotel. So my friend waited there till he sent the money. She now got out of the airport because the money was for hotel. It wasn't for extra expenses. She got out of the airport to get a yellow cab at that time. It was now around 11. So she got an elderly man, thank God. And the man, her husband directed the man to a hotel, said, take her here. So because I was now on the phone with her, I was very bothered. So the cab driver said, when they got to the first hotel, said, Madam, you know if you stay here, now shall they stay here? I was getting angry, I was getting upset. I said, Osinachi, let me come and pick you. What is this?
Now, at this point, I may not do so much translation because she spoke in English and interjected Igbo, more or less. Now, this is her friend. They've known, obviously, according to her, for about over 30 years, right? And they sing, the Glorious Singers, so they sing together in a group. And Osinachi had a program in Lagos and was to fly in Lagos. She called her and she had to arrange, make up her place with the anticipation that she was going to stay in her place. Suddenly at the airport, when she landed around 10 and she called to say, okay, should I come and pick you? Are you coming in to our house? I've asked my younger sister to fix food for you. Are you coming in to eat? And she said, no, I need to get clearance from my husband. You don't see the kind of husband where they get clearance from. There are some husbands. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Let me know. Anyway, the long story short, the lady was surprised and said, okay, Osinachi, give me your husband's number. Let me speak to her. Let me speak to him. And Osinachi did. And the lady spoke to the husband. And the husband was like, no, she has to go to a hotel. And the lady said, no, but she doesn't know Lagos. Let her come to my house. It is my house. This is my friend of over 30 years. My house. She's coming to, okay, don't worry. I will go to the airport and pick her. I guarantee you I pick her, I take her to my house. And the man said no. At that point, without knowing that the money that she was paid for that program, the man had already collected everything. To the point, someone telling you, oh, go to a hotel. You don't have money for a hotel. You don't even have money for taxi. The man had to now send Osinachi money from the same money he has already collected for the program, because apparently he is the manager. And now say, okay, use this token to go to a hotel, to a point that even when, according to her, when the taxi driver took her from the Lagos airport, MM2, into the first hotel where the man found, and probably the man was checking online, and the taxi driver on getting to that airport said, madam, probably looking at the way she was dressed, without earring, with all these born again stuff around him, looking at them and say, madam, if you sleep here, this hotel is meant for the Oloshos, where call girls sleep. This, looking at your class, you can't stay here. What is the moral of the lesson? Now, ladies, I think as long as you're not committing any immorality, anything that is wrong, there are times I believe that, honestly, you need to disobey your husband. Sorry. There are times I can't imagine. I can tell my wife, or you go somewhere and you have your classmate from your secondary school or your university days that you want to go to their house, then I'll be sitting my ass off, either in a different city, in a different country, and want to tell you where to go. I'm going to tell you, if I'm a woman, thanks, darling, I'm going to do that. I'll put my phone off, And now if I go to my friend and go have a good time, gist all night, because that's what it is. This is a friend, childhood friend. You're supposed to gist, even say, I'm not going to know when 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, when it's early morning. That's what that trip was. But hey, churchious person, you want to obey your husband. This kind of husband, they know the by himself. And you now go ahead to go risk your life. The money you made, he has taken your money. That's financial abuse, people. That's financial abuse. So if you hear these stories and you read the judgment of the court today, if you just oppose to two, you begin to actually say that the judges did a thorough job. But the part that I do not then know is, which is not too evident in the judgment, is whether all these abuses had a direct consequences to her death, to the final death. I do not know, and I haven't seen that part, because I'm still trying to, honestly gather my head how the judges arrived at the husband dying by hanging. Maybe by tomorrow, the CTC might be out. People may now be able to read the greater details, the argument of the judges to arrive at this death by hanging. From all indication, from the sister, from the mom, from the friends, not only her, friends, others, everybody in different cities gave same testament. Even the kids, the children that were then now teenagers, came to court, testified against their dad, because not only that he did this to their late mom, he also abused the children also, emotionally, financially, physically, and otherwise. For court to have arrived at this means there is something beyond what you and I know. Once more, it's indeed a painful wish that you somewhat literally obeyed your own song. The cry is that you can cry now from the grave by the abuse you suffered on the planet Earth in the hands of your husband. One would have wished that, as contained in your lyrics, that you cried those cries aloud, and probably were saved before the tragedy that struck, that led to your death. Once more, may your soul rest in peace. On that note, let's come to the political ground. In Delta State, it's going crazy. I tell you guys, the whole PDP structure in Delta State had moved into the APC. Think about it. For 80 years, Okowa, Ifeanyi Okowa, was the governor of Delta State. In 2023, Ifeanyi Okowa was the deputy or the vice president to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. Fast forward, about 2 years later, the same person that governed 8 years and was vice president ported into the APC. Many are saying that it is in line with what Adams Oshiomhole, if you recall, Adams Oshiomhole once told us that if you have stolen our money, no matter what, the moment you leave PDP and comes into APC, all your sins are forgiven. Okowa is being accused of 1.3 trillion mismanagement of Delta State funds. Some are saying that that was fund that he gave to Atiku for the presidential election of 2023. Well, we don't know. That's according to EFCC. Delta State was agog. We saw the the current Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, leading charge and bringing these individuals to their folds in APC. That was last week. This week, then, as you all know, they moved officially last week, but today in Asaba, they now had the ceremony, the one we call the ceremony, the one where we now take the money. They had to go and they celebrated today. If you look at it, if you look at this, and you listen to what the Okowa, Ifeanyi Okowa, the governor of Delta State, the former governor of Delta State, what he said. And let's take it.
APC! APC! Your Excellency, our Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the National Chairman of the APC, Your Excellencies, Governors of various states that are here present in great numbers, please do allow me stand on the already existing protocol. Today, obviously, is a great day for us in Delta State. When the news broke out on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, 2025, that we have decided to change our path, people wondered why. But one thing is very important. In the history of a people, there is always a time to change their path for the common good of the people. And whatever decision that we took was based on that common good and the need to change our path in the best interest of our state. As I did tell people that day, it was not about me. It was not about the governor. But the fact that there is a need for us to connect to Abuja. That goodwill that is in Abuja, that resource that is in Abuja, of which Delta State is a large contributor, there was a need to connect to it. I was governor for 8 years. I was in opposition. I did my best, but we lost a lot. And I did not believe that the governor needed to stay working very hard. And we know that we are very supportive of Governor Sharif because he's doing a lot. But as the governor is doing a lot for us, he also needs to connect to the greater source of power and resource and goodwill in Abuja. And when we sat down after stakeholders meeting, we thought that it was necessary to make this move. This move is bold, it is strategic, it is patriotic, and it is well-intentioned. It is in the best interest of our state. It is in the best interest of our people. You know me. I've been with you for so long. I would rather sacrifice everything that is in me for the best interest of Delta. And that decision that our governor took, that we needed to move after consultation with the leaders of the party, which was cascaded down to the local governments and the world, is the best interest for our state. We must defend our state. Our state stands far beyond us. And I believe that this decision is in the best interest of all. It is time for us to embrace each other, our brothers and sisters that were already in APC, and those of us that have come into the family. We need to embrace each other and work with oneness of heart. It is time for us to stand together in great support from Mr. President and Mr. Governor, because together we can truly dominate the politics in Delta State. For I believe there will be no other party with this move that we have made. And we are going to stretch out our hands across to our brothers, across all other states that we can reach. And I believe that a great result will come from it. Thank you, Mr. Governor, for blazing the trail. You have put us forth, and I believe that it's going to yield a lot of results. We trust you, we believe in you, and we believe in the decision that we have collectively taken. May God lead you and keep you very close to Mr. President. We will support you, we will support Mr. President, and God will truly bless us in Delta State because it is well with us. We are a great state and a great people, and now we have made the right decisions, a bold one, in the best interest of us all. Let us go back home and let the people know that we have taken this decision in their best interest. God bless you all. APC!
Okay. I don't know where to start, but I find it quite intriguing to note that a former governor who stand in the podium to say that they want to be connected to the center, not connected to the people. Between 1999 and 2007, Delta State was connected to the center. They were connected under James Ibori. Between 2007 and 2015, Delta State was connected to the center via Emmanuel Uduaghan. If it's about connection to the center, Delta State has always been there. He used his mouth now to say that Delta State is one of the states that contributes a lot to the federation via oil. That is a fact that you cannot deny. You ask yourself, that means Delta State can actually damn who is in the center. If Delta State between 1999 and 2015 connected direct pipe to Abuja, yet could not really leapfrog, it means that it's not the connection to Abuja that is the issue. It is the connection at home to the people that is the issue. That means these people are still not getting it. It's not about whether you're connected to Abuja, whether you're opposed to Abuja. You can actually be in another part. You can actually still remain in PDP and be forthright. You can remain in PDP and not be antagonistic to Abuja, for instance. We have governors. We have, like the governor of Anambra State is in ABGA. He's not necessarily overtly antagonistic to the federal government, right? But the things the state ought to do, you understand that you have a social contract with the people, and it's about this social contract with those you govern within your state. A state that is within the fifth. When you come to Nigeria, you talk about the those that generate more. I think Delta State had always been either within the fifth or within the 10th first states, with Lagos, Rivers, Akwa Ibom. When it comes to oil revenue, it's always Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Delta. So Delta and Bayelsa. So the Niger Delta State, with the exception of Edo State, the Niger Delta states, well, with the exception of Edo and Cross River, those are the, but the other four, always on top. So if people understand, if these individuals understand the power that they wield, honestly, sometimes I don't know, because, Delta State, what they control, some African nations, countries, does not have it. Just ask your Google. Some African nations does not have it, just like Lagos. They do not. Lagos GDP, Lagos, budget is bigger than that of Rwanda. Yet Rwanda, it's doing fantastically well. Why can't these people see? If you ask me, it's one thing and one thing only. These are a bunch of leaders who are afraid that their backside, that their orifice, the breeze has blown, as they say in the African proverb. It is time to see the underbelly and the orifice of the fowl. Suddenly, the fowl is taking shelter where the hawk may not be able to come in. Hawk, EFCC, hawk, EFCC, make the dot and make the connections. Well, but there is one thing that I promise all of us. There is something that is constant, and that is the truth. Sometimes when you speak truth, people tend to misunderstand you. They accuse you that you are doing X, you're doing Y. But eventually, the truth that is constant, it will reach everybody. Delta State. There is this man from Delta State called Mr. Anokpasa. Remember the interview he had with Arise TV when Rufai Oseni, asked him this question. People, let's refresh your memory.
My name is.
How are you?
My name is Rufai Hosseini, and
what happened? Okay, so let's try play that again.
my name is.
How are you?
My name is Rufai Hosseini, and at first, patriotism
okay.
means.
How are you? How are
Very
you?
well, thank you. How are you too?
You said
You know why I want to use this as my analogy is this clearly reflects, and again, even by its state, reflects what is happening in Delta State. Now they will begin to defend the APC because they are about to be hit by the trailer of truth, and by the trailer loaded with cement of facts. Recall that after the election, a couple of months into Bola Tinubu's office, I think the first year in office, this man on the screen was still very hopeful that things were going to, that he didn't enter one chance. And in this interview with Arise TV, he was asked a very simple question because he does not have the answers. He began to dance. He began to dangle like something that, you know what I mean, began to dangle. Rather than address the question, he was dangling. He was even calling refined names. But hey, people, stay true to yourself. Truth is that thing that is constant.
How are you two? How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm
Good.
okay.
Patriotism means supporting your country at all times, but also supporting the government when they deserve it. Mr. Onakwasa, I put it to you that you came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal. President Tinubu announced subsidy gone on Inauguration Day. And that was effectively pulling out subsidy. So you say he didn't remove subsidy, quoting the PIA law that had been there for a while, is misrepresentation of the facts. That's number one. Number two, since President Tinubu got in... Let me finish, Mr. Onakwasa. Let me finish, please. Secondly, since he got in...
Don't raise your voice at me, young man. Don't raise your voice at me.
Let me finish, Mr. Onakwasa. Let me finish.
I'm your guest.
So since President Tinubu got in,
respect me.
Since President Tinubu got in,
I will
the
walk out of
economy.
your studio if you raise your voice at me.
Mr.
Talk to me
Onakwasa,
respectfully.
You know, a bad craftsman quarrels with the tool. Rufai was just saying, can you allow me finish my question before you answer the questions? Now he's taking offense. I'm going to walk out of your studio. You're shouting at me. You are abusing me. Oga, where is the abuse? Answer the question, sir.
you may will take your decision if you want to. I'm asking a question. You might decide to walk out if you want to. Mr. Onakwasa, since President Tinubu came in, the economy has tanked. It's at an all-time low as we speak.
It has not. It has not.
Let me finish my question.
You see the thing? The economy has tanked, and Onakwasa, just like the APC, PDP, APC leaders, APDPs, I don't know what they call them again, in Delta State, they are now shouting, "We need connection to the center." Which connection? Pipeline connection, a telephone connection you need to the center. They are telling you that the economy has tanked. You're here shouting, the economy has not tanked. Mr. Elsen, you're lying. Economy
Mr. Onakwasa, let me finish my question.
You are a liar. Economy has not tanked. So let's see who is lying. Economy has not tanked.
Mr. Onakwasa, moderate yourself. All right? Moderate yourself.
Do you know what you are doing?
Good.
Listen to me. Young man.
Secondly,
do you know what you are doing?
Since President Tinubu came in, the economy has tanked.
You are pretending to be a journalist.
The indicators are there.
What is the matter with you?
Since he came in, the indicators are there. Number one,
somebody is reading out a question. You're saying, do not talk rudely to me. Okay? There is nowhere that he has spoken. He's just basically maintaining the same tone, but consistently trying to read out the question. If you had zipped your mouth, you would have listened to the question.
The cost of the dollar to the naira.
What is the matter with you?
The cost of the dollar to the naira has tanked tremendously as a result of the fluctuation of the currency. All right, that's one.
Is that Bola Tinubu's fault? Don't you know why Naira tanked?
I'm still asking my question. Secondly,
Naira
it's been
tanked
an
because of your friends.
because it's been an all-time malaise in the economy as we speak. Cost of living gone up tremendously. All right, and things are really, really south for the economy. So, in all of this, it's been a slopey downward spiral. What would you have to say about all of this, Mr. Onapasa?
Thank you very much for that question, Rufai Hosseini. Please, Dr. Ruben Abati and my adorable in-law, Mrs. Myro Ese, does anybody have a more reasonable question for me to answer? Because I am not dignifying that insulting question from Rufai with a response. I am not.
Okay. In his views, now, he's not going to be dignifying that with any response. We agree. But you know, like I said earlier to us, the thing with truth is that as long as it's constant, it gets to a point. The truth, like pregnancy, eh? truth, like pregnancy, when it is due, would always push its head out of the belly, whether you like it or not. Yesterday, because this part is the reality that will hit those that are out the camping now. Yesterday, you can see him, the man now, I would say he's looking fitter because it looks like someone who has lost 2-3 kg. Yesterday, he had an interview and he had with the same team, but now he's singing from a different handshake. They are now singing, before they were singing Trust and Obey. Now he's singing Arise, O compatriot.
Which don't deal when the people are hungry? Is it that easy for you to be a done deal? Let's feed our citizens. Let's govern well. It's not a question of people defecting to our party. It's a question of us ruling well. And in that angle, we have failed woefully. President Bola Tinubu has failed woefully to rule well, to provide food for Nigerians, to give them succor in these hard times. Let me come to this. The governor of Delta State, who recently defected to our party, is actually my cousin, Sheriff Oberewori. I don't have the slightest idea why.
But is it my eyes? Somewhat, he's behaving like that House of Assembly man from Kazaure. That is Honorable Kazaure, the one that says the Nigerian economy is doing well, is doing like this, is going like this, is going like this. Because for some reason, he's behaving like someone who is a little bit tipsy. I do not know. I might be wrong, but look at him again. Look at his hand gesture. Look at his eyes. I mean, I don't know what's happening to him. Or is it the Tinubu hunger that is wiring him, that is making him behave in this way?
To our party is actually my cousin, Sheriff Oberewori. I don't have the slightest idea why he defected to our party. He did not tell me he was defected to our party. I wish he were. But I don't think it has value to him, or he has value to our party, or he adds value to Delta State. But I just wish he were. This whole idea of let everybody be, let us just keep packing people into our party, that's not democracy. The interesting thing, Ruben, is that you must always have opposition because people must disagree. This idea of a one-party state is simply unattainable. There must be disagreement. Even in our party, we disagree. We are not even a one-party in our party. Is it Nigeria that will become a one-party state? It's a waste of time. So, I wish my dear cousin Sheriff Oberewori well. I welcome him to our party. But I don't think this idea of everybody joining one party is good for democracy. I don't even understand why he left his party. It does not make any sense to me. Does not at all.
You know, sometimes you will think if Nigeria really is practicing democracy, because there is no crisis in PDP to the point that there is no leadership in PDP, one would have expected that by now PDP should have gone to court to sack the governor, sack all the House of Reps, just like in Rivers State. Recall that that's the same thing that happened in Rivers State, that they had to go back saying that they haven't decamped. So now, why is PDP keeping quiet? PDP should have gone to court to sack them. You cannot be elected into a party of one party, then you go into another party. It's fine. You can leave a political party, but at least leave, go and contest another election. If you win under APC, then that's fine. You know, I don't know.
I think President Tinubu should concentrate more on bringing up prices of goods and services, you know, strengthening democratic values and all this idea of people coming to our party. That's not what is going to make us win the election in 2027.
Well, they should take her. They should take her.
I can tell you, just a minute, Ruben. I can tell you for free, Ruben, that at this rate we are going, all these things will help us in 2027. If we are not careful, Bola Tinubu will end up as a one-term president. Quote me anywhere.
So you look at this, you agree with me that the only thing that is constant is truth. When Rufai confronted him with the truth in 2024, he attacked him. Fast forward many months later, that truth spoken by Rufai remained constant, remained the only thing that is as straight as a cigarette, as straight as a pencil, right? That's what is constant. But hey, that's Nigeria. If you move from that Delta state and look at actually the opposition general, you watch again, there is this video from Professor Yusuf. Professor Yusuf, was very, has been very, very critical. I think he was DG of Nigeria Insurance Scheme, I think. If you watch one of the videos where he clearly says that EFCC has become a tool for dictatorship, and he blasted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that he has used EFCC trying to silence those who speak out against his government. Just have a listen.
But seriously, on the 29th of January this year, at about 6:30 p.m., my wife came up to my room and said there are some gentlemen that knocked and just walked into the room, dark-suited, walked into the door. They want to see me. They said I'm expecting them. I came downstairs in my jalabia, no hat, and flip-flop. And they said they are from the EFCC. They've come to take me to the EFCC. I said, guys, you haven't even introduced yourselves. So they just brought out their badge and said, oh, they're EFCC. Show me arrest warrant. Oh, we don't need that, sir. Okay? Allow me to go upstairs, change. They blocked me. They didn't let me. Allow my wife to go upstairs and bring me some change of clothing. They refused. We went outside. As we went outside, their bus was waiting outside. The driver was sitting. The engine was running. And there were 5 armed mobile policemen, some deployed behind the house, thinking I would run. I'm not a runner. So we went in, and I was sandwiched between an armed Mopol and a young operative. And they were high-fiving themselves as if they had captured notorious Kachala Bello Turji. We went to the EFCC, went to the office of their boss, and he handed me a bunch of papers. What are these? These are your charges. Well, I don't need the charges if I don't have my lawyer here. Well, the guy was waiting to go home, and my battery had gone down, and I couldn't call my wife and to tell her where I was and how I was, and they wouldn't let me call her. and they just took me to the cells. Nobody had told me whether I was going to stay, why I was there, how long I was going to be there. They just took me around the building to the cells. Entered the cells, well, a lot of them were youth. They recognized me from the previous brouhahas in Nigeria, and they came up to me wishing me good luck and best wishes. I had serious headache because remember I had fasted for over 14 hours by then. I hadn't eaten or drunk anything. They brought me a sachet of pure water and tea. I drank and went to sleep. And then the next morning, they took us to, they called my name out, we were going to court. We went into the bus. Well, when we came out of the building, they had placed their official photographer to be taking photographs of me without a hat, in jalabiya, in flip-flop. That was when I realized these guys are up to no good. All they're interested is to demean me, dehumanize me, and weaken my spirit. They don't know who they're dealing with. We went into the bus, and I was jokingly telling them, guys, haven't you forgotten the chains and the manacles? They busted out laughing and said, our guy, it hasn't reached to that. We went to court, and they were not ready. We had to come back to the EFCC again, and they upgraded me from 4 of us in a room to I alone in a cell. I was there in the EFCC for 6 days. After that, I was arraigned in court, and then the judge did not give me bail. Her reason, well, she had a cold. I was put back to Kuje. I was in Kuje for 24 days. Denial of bail 2. Anybody accused is wrong, because bail is a constitutionally guaranteed right of anybody accused, except if it was a capital offense or the person is suspected of terrorism. Mine was neither of those. I was denied bail deliberately by this government to shake me up. And I was put in Kuje for 6 days and 24 days in EFCC for 6 days and 24 days in Kuje to shake me up and silence me. But no, I'm no one to be silenced. In Kuje prison, I wrote my experiences and told this government that 6 days in Kuje and 24 days 6 days in EFCC and 24 days in Kuje will not silence me. The whole purpose is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government trying to silence any dissent to his government. And this coming from a president who was an IDECO activist himself, who fought the military, who ran across the border and ran away from the military. And when he came back, he never gave neither Jonathan nor Obasanjo, not even Buhari, he never gave them peace. He was criticizing them. Criticizing a government in a democracy is a legitimate right of every citizen. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is trying to stifle dissent in this country and is trying to make this country a one-party dictatorial state. We are not going to let that happen. We'll continue to speak up. We'll continue to raise our voices because...
Okay. Obviously, that is his own testimony, right? That is his own testimony. You see, one thing I am trying to do is to highlight where we see gaps in terms of what the government is doing. And not necessarily, I have decided, because criticism is being misconstrued. I've decided not to directly criticize, but keep highlighting where issues are. Now, before I round up this evening, there is also another issue that is on the front burner. That is between the issues surrounding the statement, or rather comments made by Peter Obi, and regarding JAMB. Peter Obi made it very clear that in one of his tweets, let me see if I can quickly pull that up, that JAMB was inviting the students to come and take exams by 6 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, right? Let me quickly share this so that we can see that. Now, and that has, the challenge I see with us now in Nigeria is that things easily snowballs into things you don't sometimes understand. Things ought not to be the way we actually make them to be. Let me share this with us. On the screen here, let me see if I can make it bigger. On the screen here, looking at this here, you will see Nigerian Stories published this that no exams held at 6 a.m. JAMB reacts to P2B criticism. Now, let's actually look at what the actual story is, right? Let's look at JAMB and we'll see what the story is actually. P2B made a tweet where he said that JAMB actually was inviting students to come as early as 6 o'clock, right? Or 6:30. And JAMB now goes on to say it's a lie, P2B lied, that there was never a time that they asked students to come. Look at it here. This is JAMB here. JAMB says, P2B, Your Excellency, I must assert that our examination is scheduled to commence at 8 a.m., not 6 a.m., while verification and other clearance processes begins at 6:30. It is imperative that candidates are afforded adequate time to settle. Now, what P2B actually said was, I came across multiple reports. Now, somebody coming across multiple reports of students who are complaining that they are being asked to attend a public examination by 6:30. 6:30, P2B did not use, so that we would always pay attention. P2B did not use 6 o'clock. P2B said 6:30. And he continued to say teenagers, mostly around 15 to 17 years old, forced to travel in the dark, even in the face of insecurity, across dangerous and unfamiliar locations, because setting the exam for vulnerable teenagers as early as 6 a.m. while transporting them across far-long location is reckless. Now, let's go back and see this. And once JAMB replied this, obviously, Nigerians became angry. Those students who were asked to come by 6 began to share their slips. Can we please look at this? People, follow me. Let's read this together. This person obviously hid his name for obvious reason, which is a smart thing to do. This exam was on Thursday, 24th. And it says here, time, 6:30 a.m. Time, the person is going to take English, government, literature in English, Christian religious knowledge. That's number one person. One person. Now you look at that, seat number 144. Location is JAM Professional Test Center PTC area headquarters by Concord bus stop opposite Sega Suit beside Labor House Owerri. That's number one. Let's look for another person that is not Owerri, right? This is okay. This is second person, right? This person's location is Center for Advanced Library and Information Management, CAM, ICT, 12 Archie Street, Independent Layout, by Agric Bank, opposite Shepherd, Good Shepherd Anglican Church, Enugu. Thursday, 24th April. Again, time 6:30 to take examination date. See, examination date. There is nowhere here that it is written, come 6 o'clock, 6:30, you will be cleared. It says examination date. Then it says examination time, 6:30. These are the slips being posted by Nigerians in order to defend themselves that JAMB is lying. Let's go further. Let's go down here again. Once this happened, if so this person wrote, concerned citizen, it doesn't make any sense, no matter who wants to justify it. Asking them to be at the venue by 6:30 often means they have to leave their houses as early as 5 a.m. in some cases, which is true. This is unacceptable and must change. Now, we'll go back to this one again is in Lagos. Thank God this person blurred the name, but here is Lagos mainland. Hasham Academy, 15 Owodoni Street, off Iwaya Road, Yaba, Lagos. Monday, 28 April. That is today. Monday, 28 April, 6:30. These are sleeps. People are snapping and trying to prove that JAMB is lying. Again, this one today. Last week, Thursday, 25th, 24th, 6:30 again. All the ones you can see, all the sleeps. This sleep again. You can see that New Ocean Comprehensive Second High School CBT Center, 7072 Alaja Road, Magida Stop, Awoyo, Lagos, Friday 25th, 6:30 again. English, mathematics, physics, and chemistry. So if you look at this, one thing I believe JAM and those that manage these institutions don't know is that the time of people lying blatantly on the internet is over. Germans will say es ist vorbei, because people are everywhere now. They can catch you pants down. Look at this. Alimosho in Lagos, Mianki Enterprise, Honorable Raman Adeleji Street, off Ansa Uden Street, Glory Comprehensive School, Ile Epo Bus Stop, Ejigbo, Lagos. Again, when? 26th. That was on Saturday. Time, 6:30 a.m. Why is JAMB making a fuss about all these things? Why? JAMB, in my view, there are things you should have actually stayed off. You would have paid that JAMB probably put up a statement saying, find a way to, but not necessarily saying you're lying, attacking, and people are now saying this is the evidence. Who is the one lying here? JAMB, who is the one lying? It's quite really sometimes intriguing to know that the things we do in this country just kind of, just gets your head spinning. Who does these things? Why would people even want to lie where the evidence is very, very overwhelming? Because now you have the people to contend with. The people are now telling you, this is what you told us, or this is what you sent us. So nobody is lying here. You are the one not telling us the truth. I must assert, again, let me read their statement. Your Excellency, I must assert that the examination is scheduled to commence at 8 a.m., not 6 a.m., while verification and clearance start by 6:30. Now, those examination center, pay attention, people. This is not the school of your child. These are normally where they have internet, sometimes where they have solar, sometimes we know all the ICT center, right? So it's normally very, very far from the house. That means if JAMB is telling you these children need to come and do clearance by 6:30 a.m., it means the child will leave home around 5 and 5:30. Again, many of you in the South may not know the danger that is associated to this in the North. From some people to leave their places in their homes to get to these centers, it's very unlikely that they would actually get it before 8 o'clock. Maybe the best thing they would do is to sleep in that center. There are places in the North that before you get to these centers, you need to drive 2-3 hours. That means that child will leave home around 4 or 3:30. JAMB, I think there is need for JAMB to review this, because this on its own doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. You're endangering the life of these young children, especially the young female children, by letting them leave the house so early to go for these JAMB exams. If you haven't subscribed to this platform, please, by all means, like, share, subscribe, share on your various WhatsApp groups. If you want to support us, you can use on the lower third, that is the scrolling banner there. You can support us through the bank ASA, or you can use the PayPal at NjenjeMedia@gmail.com, or you can use the super sticker and super chat. On that note, I say thank you very much. I am still Mazi Ezekwe. Good night.
La 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 la.